Yeah, I picture you in them heels, picture you with no clothes, your fine ass in that lingerie and that freaky shit that I'm on. Shawty got a man, never mind that jerk, killing them hoes, she belong in the hearse. She don't need a job, she can get that work, you could get that work. And I know that's pussy good than soul food, make you wanna slap your mama. You the bomb, baby, that's tick tick, but no Afghan or Bin Laden. Right. Come take a ride in my theme park, I watch you do it, that's a work of art. When that click kissed and that moan is starting them deep inside of her nose heart.
Oh yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Tariq Elite Radio Show. And my name is Mr. Tariq Elite, also known as Tariq Nasheed, also known as King Flex, and we're ready to chop up some good game on today's show. Today's show is brought to you by Jazzy Hair. Now, Jazzy Hair offers the finest quality of virgin Brazilian hair extension products that allow individuals to have that full body of hair you always wanted. If you're going to get hair, get it from the black folks, ladies and gentlemen. Their hair is 100% unprocessed. It's top of the line. They have great customer service and fast delivery. Check out their website at Jazzy Hair, and you spell Jazzy, J-A-Z-E-E, hair.com. Follow them on Instagram at J-A-Z-E-E Hair. And follow them on Facebook at J-A-Z-E-E Hair. Or you can call Jazzy Hair at 832-901-2603. And ladies and gentlemen, today's show is also brought to you by TariqElite.com. That's where you can get that fresh fly gear. Check out the brand new Tariq Elite dress shirts. Get that crisp, grown and sexy fly look, ladies and gentlemen. And also don't forget to check out Hidden Colors 1 and 2 at HiddenColorsFilm.com. We put up the trailer for Hidden Colors 3. That's available. It's up on YouTube right now. You guys go to YouTube right now and check out the trailer for Hidden Colors 3. Hidden Colors 3 will be in theaters June 26th. Some places is going to be June 27th, but most cities around the country, and we're going to have a one-night screening only, so you're going to have to go see it that night. It's a special event because we're going to have the DVD available not too long after that, but we're going to have screenings all around the country. That's going to be Thursday, June 26th. Let me tell you the cities. It's going to be in Los Angeles. It's going to be at a couple of theaters in New York. It's going to be at a couple of theaters in Atlanta. It's going to be in about 2 or 3 theaters in Washington, D.C., because last year all the theaters kept selling out, so we added a couple of more theaters. So it's going to be in Detroit and it's going to be in Chicago. I think it's going to be in Chicago on the 27th. So check at HiddenColorsFilm.com for the exact days and times. Also, it's going to be in Oakland, too. It's going to show in Oakland that Thursday night, too. So all my people, get ready. Hidden Colors 3 is going to be a beast. People are fiending on that trailer. The production quality is high, top-notch. The white supremacist websites, they're already complaining about it. I had a discussion on my Facebook page. There are a couple of white supremacist websites already up in arms about the film trailer already. The film ain't even out, and they're raising hell. So it's getting them shook, as it should. Because we going hard in the paint in this one. We got Dick Gregory, we got Paul Mooney, we got Nas, Umar Johnson, Dr. Kaba, Dr. Phil Valentine, Shahrazad Ali. I mean, just a whole plethora of top-notch people spitting that hot fire. So you guys do not want to miss that, ladies and gentlemen. Let me put on some Mackin music so I can chop up some game with the family real quickly. But Hidden Colors 3, again, that's going to be in theaters June 26th. So you got to go check that out. You got to experience that in a room full of people. When you're in a theater full of people and you feel that positive energy, there's nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. So you definitely want to check that out. Now, on today's show, we're going to talk about the whole Beyonce, Jay-Z, Solange fiasco that happened. Now, everybody knows on Monday a tape came out of Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, fighting Jay-Z or attacking Jay-Z in an elevator at an upscale event in New York. And we're going to get into that. I'm going to break that down and give my thoughts on that a little bit later. But we have to talk about the new Donald Sterling interview. Donald Sterling, you know, we've been talking about him for the last few weeks, the owner, or soon to be former owner, of the Los Angeles Clippers. He had a mistress. He was caught on tape making these very racist, white supremacist remarks about black people. And he got put on out there. He got put on blast. And everybody's been talking about this. The NBA, they're banning him from the league. I know for a second he was trying to transfer ownership to his wife. They're not letting the wife get ownership of it. And a lot of people have been putting some very interesting perspectives on Donald Sterling. Like my brother Umar Johnson, he's been doing interviews talking about how this really isn't about race at all. Because again, they really give a fuck about black folks. It's just that people within his own circle, they're ousting him because they've gotten tired of his antics. He's not playing along with the rules, and a lot of people they kind of have this consensus that he's been ousted by his own. And when you think about it, that makes a lot of sense because they really don't let black people take down one of their own. People within these inner circles of wealthy billionaires and big time money makers, they're not going to let some black Mexican chick ruin somebody's empire unless they're complacent with it, unless they want it to happen. You got to understand this, when white supremacists, when they make missteps, you have other people who are white supremacists and even suspected white supremacists and even non-white supremacists who will protect the white supremacists. If you listen to my show that I did a few weeks ago with the lady who called up the suspected white supremacist, she was calling up defending Donald Sterling, and she was saying how much she wasn't a racist, and her boyfriend was black, and she was married to a black guy for 25 years. I mean, she was super extra liberal, but she was still psychologically down to protect white supremacists. Because a lot of times, even if you're not a white supremacist, you might have a white supremacist in your family, and you will want to protect that person in many cases, which is still dangerous. But with Donald Sterling again, and I'm digressing into a whole bunch of things, but with Donald Sterling, they gave him a chance to give an interview, to give his side of the story, to tell his side, because everybody's throwing him under the bus. So they want to give him a chance to tell his story. Now, his handlers, I'm sure his PR people, they basically said, look, Donald, all you have to do, we're going to set you up with an interview with Anderson Cooper. He's going to throw you some softball questions, which Anderson Cooper didn't go too hard on him. But Anderson Cooper threw some softball questions at him. He kind of, dug a little bit and called him out on his hypocrisy a little bit. But Anderson Cooper threw some softball questions. And Donald Sterling's only thing, all you had to do, Donald Sterling, and I'm talking as his PR reps, all he had to do, they sat him down and said, look, Donald, just don't be racist for 5 minutes. We're going to set this softball interview up with Anderson Cooper. Donald, all you have to do is not sound like a white supremacist for 5 minutes. That's all you got to do. Poor Donald Sterling couldn't even do that. This interview was a mess. I'm going to play some clips of it, and I'm going to give some commentary during the clips, but he was all over the place. The dude started throwing Magic Johnson under the bus. I mean, this dude was a complete train wreck, and I loved every minute of it. Like I said, all you got to do with a white supremacist is let them talk. Just give them enough rope to hang themselves. It's a beautiful thing when you're dealing with an old school white supremacist. It's with Sterling, it's just racism to the bone. He can't help himself. And let's start off with some of these clips. Here we go. This is the first one.
I'm not a racist. I made a terrible, terrible mistake. And I'm here with you today to apologize.
Now, this is what they've been rehearsing, all right? They've been rehearsing. You got to come on out and apologize and say what you did wrong. And, you can tell that he has memorized this. And then, with the white supremacists, they don't want to do all that. They just want to, the real them is going to come on out.
And to ask for forgiveness for all the people that I've hurt, and I've hurt so many people, so many innocent people, and I've hurt myself. You know, I spoke to a girl that I was fond of, and I don't know why I could never, when I listened to that tape, I don't even know how I could say words like that.
Oh, you know, Donald. You know. You got a history of saying that shit.
I'm not a racist. I love people. I always have. But those words came out of my mouth, I guess.
Yes, they did.
And I'm so sorry. And I'm so apologetic.
I'm so sorry. I'm so apologetic.
What are you sorry about?
Well, I'm sorry that so many people are hurt. My little grandchild goes to a Catholic nursery, and they were passing around candy to everybody. When they got to her, they said, "We don't give candy to racists." 7 and 9. So it hurts me.
Somebody didn't give his granddaughter some candy. Some other kids were probably taunting her at school. Okay.
It hurt my ex-wife.
Well, wait. Before I go on, that's your fault, though, Donald Sterling. That's your fault, dude. You're the white supremacist. Those are words that came out of your mouth.
She is a beautiful person.
Okay, right now he's talking about his ex-wife. So then he starts to deflect and getting into Magic Johnson and all this stuff. So let me play some more of it.
The question then is, why does being seen with a black person not make her a delicate, white, or delicate Latina girl?
Okay, so now they're going into Vistiviano. So now they're going into the remarks. So, you know, he was talking about in the tapes that exposed him, well, she should act like a delicate Latina. She shouldn't be seen with black folks. And he's going to try to explain that.
I can't explain some of the stupid, foolish, uneducated words that I uttered. I don't know. You know, you get upset, and you say things.
But he wasn't upset in the thing. He wasn't upset. He wasn't saying that stuff out of anger. See, I love how the white supremacists try to justify the shit they do. You dig what I'm saying? He wasn't saying none of that stuff out of anger. He was pretty calm when he was talking to her.
One other thing you said, I'm just saying in your lousy expletive Instagrams, you don't have to have yourself walking with black people. You don't have to. If you want to, do it. Well, you know, if
it doesn't make sense. I don't care. I didn't care.
Would it have been okay with you if she was bringing a white person to a game?
She had 4 seats. She brought a lot of people. I don't understand why in the world I said any of those stupid, uneducated remarks.
You said it because you meant it. You said it because you're a white supremacist. You understood why you said it. You were very, very specific about what you said. You said it because that's how you feel.
Because I really don't care who she brought to the game. I was more interested in the game. I was a little jealous, I have to admit. But I don't know why I said stupid things.
For a lot of people, though, these comments that were caught on tape do echo other charges that have been made in the past, as you know, by Elgin Baylor in other lawsuits.
No. You're trying to connect them.
No, I'm not.
Elgin Baylor has nothing to do with what the things I said 20 years later. Well, what did it have to do?
Well, Elgin Baylor made a claim that you had a plantation mentality, and then now in this thing, you're saying you feed these guys.
I think you have more of a plantation mentality than I do.
That's another thing. Why, when you call the white supremacists out, they're always deflecting. Hey, man, that's kind of racist. No, you're the racist. Hey, what you said, it's kind of a plantation mentality. You got a plantation mentality. That's a very common tactic with white supremacists. They love to deflect onto the person who's accusing them of what they've done.
And I think you're more of a racist than I am. Because I'm not a racist, and I've never been a racist. I'll never be a racist. I don't know what that means to have a mentality. You're asking me about questions. What do you mean, a mentality?
Well, to have a plantation mentality is to feel like you own these guys, they're working for you.
Do I own them?
I don't know.
My players earn $100 million a year.
But again,
do I own them?
But in this tape,
some of them own $50 million a year.
In this tape, you're saying I support them, I give them food, and clothes, and cars.
I think I create create opportunities for them so they can make $100 million. I don't give them anything, believe me. And those players could get that same amount of money anywhere else.
You acknowledge they earned that?
Of course they earn it, and they work harder than any other sport.
Well, Donald Sterling says that he has tons of support. He says the players still love him, and it's just the media that wants him out of the NBA. We'll have that part of the interview next. And later, this is probably the most surprising part of our conversation. Donald Sterling pretty much trashing Magic Johnson.
What's he done? Can you?
Okay, hold on. Let me break that whole Magic thing down because I got a lot of notes on that. But again, he was still talking with that plantation mentality in regards to the players. And again, you notice all the deflection and that whole Magic Johnson thing. Again, that's another deflection he goes into. Let me play that.
I didn't give any interviews. You're on my interview. I'm deciding if I like you. No, but I mean, here is a man who's, I don't know if I say this, he acts so holy.
He's talking about Magic Johnson now.
I mean, he made love to every girl in every city in America, and he had AIDS. And when he had those AIDS, I went to my synagogue and I prayed for him.
Wait a minute. He said, now, Magic Johnson went around and made love to every girl in America, and he got those AIDS. Hold on. This motherfucker is hilarious. Hold on.
I don't know if I say this. He acts so holy. I mean, he made love to every girl in every city in America, and he had AIDS. And when he had those AIDS, I went to my synagogue and I prayed for him. I hoped he could live and be well. I didn't criticize him. I could have. Is he an example for children? You know, because he has money, he's able to treat himself. But Magic Johnson is irrelevant in this thing. He didn't do anything harmful to anybody, and I respect him and I admire everything that he does. You know, I'd like to help even more if he would offer me an opportunity to help. I like to help minorities.
Magic Johnson had said that, you know, he would never attend a game while you were owner, apparently.
And then that's another thing. See, what happened was Sterling wanted Magic Johnson to go on Barbara Walters with him, and Magic was like, no, I'm cool, because he wanted to get Magic on Barbara Walters with him so Magic can kind of save him. And Magic was like, no, I'm cool on that. No, you're going to have to hold your own nuts.
He showed up to a game today.
He would never what?
Attend a Clippers game as long as you were owner. And he came today to see the game.
He's there at the game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worthy of even discussing. Such a stupid remark. But he lulled me into waiting a week. Do you know what I mean? He said, don't do anything.
He told you, you're saying he told you not to say anything?
Yeah, don't do anything. I know the girl. Don't do anything.
And that, now Magic, because they've interviewed Magic now, Magic said, I don't know that damn Vistiviano. So Sterling is putting all this stuff out on Magic, talking about Magic has never done anything. Magic has done a lot of stuff for the community. The Magic Johnson Foundation has been around since the early 90s. So Magic, if you're going to talk about black people doing stuff, Magic is one of the few that really does stuff for a lot of black folks. Magic and giving black folks computers and jobs, and he had the Magic Johnson Theater, employed just thousands of black people. So he's given a real bad example of black people not doing anything. Let me play the rest of it.
I'll help you. I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting.
What you're saying is Magic Johnson called you up, or you called him up?
I don't know his phone number.
He called you up when the tape broke.
I don't call anybody.
He called you up.
I'm loyal to you.
He called you up when the tape came out, and he told you not to say anything?
Yeah.
Why did he say don't say anything?
He just said, wait, be patient, I'll help you.
This dude is lying. Now, why would Magic call him up and say, hey, don't say anything? Magic said that Sterling called him, which is more believable. Why would Magic call this dude? Magic didn't really have anything to do with this whole situation.
We'll work it out.
Why do you think he said that?
I think he wanted me to just do nothing so he could buy the team. He thought maybe the whole thing would be resolved in 2 weeks. Well, what has he done? Can you?
Now he's about to get into Magic. See, watch this deflection. That's another thing that the white supremacists like to do. They love to deflect. Now he's about to go into Magic. It's all out the blue.
Well, what has he done? Can you tell me? Big Magic Johnson, what has he done?
And he keeps saying that. Oh, big Magic Johnson. Big black ass Magic. That's what he wants to say. Big bad Magic Johnson. What has he done? I mean, the racism is just seething underneath this dude.
He's a business person.
He's got AIDS. Did he do any business?
He's like, he got AIDS. That's what he did.
Did he help anybody in South L.A.?
Well, I think he has HIV. He doesn't actually have full-blown AIDS. But.
Well, what kind of a guy goes to every city, has sex with every girl, then he catches HIV? And is that someone we want to respect and tell our kids about?
Okay. Let me follow the logic. So we shouldn't respect Magic Johnson because he got a disease that he didn't mean to catch? So if you catch a disease, you don't deserve respect? Is that what you're saying? What kind of shit is that? So we shouldn't respect any person with any kind of AIDS or any kind of HIV, so we shouldn't respect them no more? Because it's something that they did on purpose? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, listen to the logic in this dude. You got to understand the mind of a white supremacist. It's all over the place. One sentence contradicts the next. They're just all over the place in order to justify their white supremacist views.
I think he should be ashamed of himself. I think he should go into the background. But what does he do for the black people? He doesn't do anything.
That's a lie. This dude keeps saying that, and that's another thing with white supremacists. They get out here and just keep repeating lies and just the repetitiveness of lie after lie after lie. And a lot of times it doesn't get checked. So I'm glad that Magic was able to defend himself, because what Sterling is doing is just flat out lying. Magic has done so many things for black folks.
You call up and, well,
he's opened a lot of businesses in inner city neighborhoods.
The Jewish people have a company, and it's for people who want to borrow money and no interest.
Now, listen to this now. Listen to this.
They want to give them a fishing pole. We want to help people. If they don't have the money, we'll loan it to you. You don't have interest, one day you'll pay us back. So I'm just telling you, he does nothing. It's all talk.
So are you saying that African Americans don't contribute to African American communities as much as Jewish people?
There's no African American. Never mind.
He was about to go there. But he cut himself off. He was about to go somewhere, but he cut himself off. He's like, oops, wait a minute. I'm being too damn racist for myself. I'm going there. Now, there's some people online who were kind of agreeing with what this guy was saying. That, well, those in the Jewish community, they help each other out, and the African Americans don't do this. Well, look, we've had people like Claude Anderson, George Frazier, just so many people meet, all in the black community for years, for decades, talking about the need and importance of group economics. So we're not going to co-sign Sterling because he's not being totally honest and genuine with what he's saying. He's just talking to create a smokescreen. You understand what I'm saying? This whole thing where, well, the blacks don't do this. Dude, you're an NBA owner. They are known to low-key sabotage players financially. If players really use that money to do things for a lot of black folks in big numbers and they band it together in big numbers, they would be sabotaged by the league. The league does a lot of low-key shit to sabotage these guys, especially Sterling. Even if you're not an NBA player, this dude has a history of disenfranchising black folks. There was a story that came out today about Sterling. 10 years ago, this dude evicted like a partially paralyzed black lady from one of his apartments, and I quote, and you can look this up, in court, one of the witnesses testified that he said, "Is she one of those blacks that stink? If so, evict the bitch." Verbatim. I'm not making none of this up. This story just came out today about him. There was a black lady that she was complaining about things that needed to be fixed in one of the apartment buildings that Sterling owned. It was just like water leaking everywhere. Then they evicted this partially paralyzed black lady, and the lady ended up dying of a stroke or whatever, and I think he got sued for that. So he ain't at liberty to talk about what black folks should do and all that, because he's part of the problem of disenfranchising black folks. Let's be very clear. So I'm not giving him any props on him talking about what black folks need to do. We got people who can handle that within our community and discuss that in a genuine way in our community. You understand what I'm saying? And he's not saying that because he's trying to give us some kind of financial advice, because he's not being totally honest. Because the thing is, first of all, we don't have the luxury to do what he did, which is change our last name and assimilate into the dominant society and low-key work for our ethnic group like he did. His name is not Sterling, by the way, family. His last name is really Tokowitz. His name is Donald Tokowitz. That Sterling is not his last name. He changed his last name in 1959. And in the court records, the reason why he changed his name, he said, and this is in the court records, he changed it to Sterling because he thought that the name Sterling, he believed the name Sterling would be more financially beneficial to him. Look up what I'm saying if you think I'm bullshitting. So that's a very important thing to leave out, because if you're from a marginalized group and you're able to cloak that or change your name to fit in covertly within the dominant society in order to build a certain level of wealth, you can't point the finger at a group who can't do that. So there's a lot of things that I have a problem with that, and certain black folks were trying to co-sign what he was saying. Now, look, we need to practice group economics. We need to practice group economics, but it's not about the celebrities doing it. Let me put on some Mackin music while I talk about this for a second, because this is very important. We need group economics, but it needs to be with the everyday black person. Because the thing is, we have certain black celebrities, but there's only a handful of black celebrity millionaires. They're just regulated to athletes and entertainers. You understand that? Most of the black people with a lot of money are athletes and entertainers, and they're kept on a short leash. Black athletes and black entertainers are kept on a short leash. And if they did too much for their community, that would create too much of a red flag. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't, because many of them do. Many of them do, but we got to stop looking to the black celebrity to do things that we as a community need to do. Black people, the guy who works at the post office or the guy who works at the car wash, we all need a code. Because then we get into that whole mentality where one person gets something, you deserve to give it to all of us. And that's not how people think generally. Everybody's supposed to have a code where we're going to do business with each other, and we're all going to build up group wealth. Because a lot of times, cats get this fake consciousness when you see another black person doing something fly. When you see another black person becoming successful, all of a sudden, niggas start talking this, well, what about the community talk, when you ain't gave a shit about the community in never. Now that somebody else has got some money, you're trying to count their money and tell them what to do with their money. We should do it all together. Because if a person is talking about what you need to do for the community and you ain't doing it, you're sitting around drinking and smoking a blunt, you're not at liberty to talk about what the next brother or Floyd Mayweather or Oprah should do with their money. You're just not at liberty to do that, because other people in their communities, they don't do that either. Because it ain't like a bunch of successful Jewish people or successful Irish people or any other group. It's not like they're just giving money to a whole bunch of poor people. They're not doing that. Don't let them fool you. It's just that a lot of people in that community, they just happen to be on the same page on every level, and they choose to do business with one another. They choose to practice group economics. In the Asian community, they do this too. These marginalized groups, they choose to practice group economics, and black folks, we're looked down upon when we do that. And we've started to look down upon ourselves for doing that. So now this is why I've been preaching the importance of group economics from every level, not just pointing at the Floyd Mayweathers and the Jay-Z's and all that, but all of us should be down to practice group economics and get that hater gene out of you. Because when you see somebody black doing something, don't let that hate rise up in you. This is for the cat who's not a millionaire. Even now, look, my movie Hidden Colors 3 is coming out. I got people now talking about, hey man, this should be free. Right now, niggas are still talking about that we should give Hidden Colors away for free bullshit. So that type of mentality has to die within the black community. That's a cancer, that you should give it free to us because you black and I'm black. That bullshit needs to stop. And that comes from the lower level. It doesn't come from the top. We keep putting all of this fake responsibility on the top. We need to put the responsibility on all of us in the black community. Because one wealthy black person trying to take care of a whole group of people, that's not the answer. And they know that's not the answer. That's why MC Hammer fell off with his money. That's that MC Hammer thing where MC Hammer was trying to take care of everybody in Oakland. He took 100 people with him on tour, giving cats money, people starving, people struggling, and Hammer was trying to be the Pied Piper. And Hammer's a good dude, by the way. But Hammer lost all his money trying to help all these people out. You can't do that if you're one person, because lightning can't strike twice for you like that if you're in the black community. Sometimes it's like winning the lottery when you become a multimillionaire like that, and then you lose your money. It's hard to get that back, whereas those in the dominant white society, they can lose that money and they can bounce back. There's different options for them to bounce back. Us, we got to wait on that next hit record, or we got to wait on the next football contract, which may or may not come. So we really have to practice group economics on every socio-economic level. So again, I'm not giving Sterling props as far as that, because he's speaking from a place that's not genuine. Now, let me play some more of this interview. This stuff is hilarious.
I'm sorry. They all want to play golf with me. Everybody wants to be with me.
By the way, Magic Johnson has a foundation that's been around for 20 years that has raised millions of dollars.
Yes, he has. And Anderson Cooper, he tried to clean it up a little bit. So I give props to Anderson Cooper.
African Americans, and like the part you just heard, it started when I asked him about his relationship with Magic Johnson. You have talked to him?
Twice. And then, he...
Did you apologize?
He knew the girl, he said. He knew the girl well.
Did you apologize to him? Or?
Well... if I said anything wrong, I'm sorry. He's a good person, and what am I going to say? Has he done everything he can do to help Minorities? Say it. I'll say it, he's great. But I just don't think he is a good example for the children of Los Angeles, that he would go and do what he did and then get AIDS. I mean, come on.
Like he went out and got it on purpose. You should be ashamed of getting AIDS.
Maybe he doesn't think I could be a good owner. I remember when he came from Detroit.
And he gets into V. Stiviano a little bit. He goes into her, and I got to play a little bit of that in a minute. Hold on. And I think he talked a little bit more about
But
Magic.
I'd like to know exactly what does he do? He works with the Dodgers?
Oh, he's got a
do you
business,
know what I do?
He said Magic works with the Dodgers. Like, he's talking like Magic is an employee. Magic owns the Dodgers. He's one of the owners of the Dodgers.
Movie
I
theaters.
spend millions on giving away and helping minorities. Does he do that? That's one problem I have. Jews, when they get successful, they will help their people. And some of the African Americans, maybe I'll get in trouble again, they don't want to help anybody. What has Magic Johnson really done for Children's Hospital? Which kids are lying in the hallways. They're sick. They need a bed. What has he done for any hospital? What has he done for any group? I don't know.
Well, Sterling, if you stop evicting black folks and stop disenfranchising them as far as where they live, maybe they can do something.
Maybe he's done a lot. I know he's successful in business, but I'm not interested in business anymore at all. I'm interested in helping people.
But you are interested in business. You're interested in maintaining ownership of the Clippers. That's business.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care about business, but he's fighting to keep that damn team. See the contradiction there? He's like, I'm not thinking about business. It's all about helping people, but he's interested in keeping that damn team.
Did you say to somebody that you should have paid V. Stiviano off?
No.
Did she ask you for money? Do you believe she was trying to extort money from you in any way?
Forgive me for saying this, but she is a good person. She is a beautiful person. There's 15 of her, 15 children, 15 Hispanic kids.
And watch this. See, Hispanic. He's telling himself that she's Hispanic. And Hispanic is such an ubiquitous term. It doesn't mean anything. That's what he has to tell himself, because the blacks are inferior to me. This is what's going on in his mind. So I'm pussy whooped over this black female, and that's what he is. He's a pussy whoop white supremacist, and that's the worst kind of white supremacist. A pussy whoop white supremacist who's pussy whooped over a black pussy. That's the worst kind. So he has to tell himself certain things. That's why there's so much inner conflict with this dude. He has to tell himself, well, she's really Hispanic. Oh God, it's one contradiction after the next.
Sisters and brothers, and she supports them all. Perhaps she's made some mistakes. I thought she cared for me. I was stupid. How could a girl care for a man 51 years old?
He gonna start crying. He's crying. He's crying.
She didn't, or she wouldn't have released those tapes. But she's not a bad person.
That nigga start crying.
You know, she has to survive. She's a street person.
He says she's a street person. It's like he's like, look, oh, she's a nice girl, but you know, she's a dirty little street Negro that I dusted off and I gave my heart to her. This nigga said she's a street person. Every contradiction you can name comes from this dude. He's hilarious. Oh.
How could a girl care for a man 51 years old?
I gotta play this again.
She didn't, or she wouldn't have released those tapes. But she's not a bad person. You know, she has to survive. She's a street person, but inside she's a good person.
You still think
she's a dirty little negress with a heart of gold.
Not relevant to this conversation. I don't know why she did what she did. God would tell me. But whatever she did, good or bad, I'm the guilty one for uttering those terrible, ugly words that I don't mean. I made such a mistake.
He's still crying over that pussy.
I thought that woman really cared for me.
Hilarious.
But thank God this has all come to the light, because it could have been worse. And she could have... I don't know what she wants. I don't know how it happened.
She wanted your money, trick ass. Let me play some more of this fool.
If I really can be honest, this girl, 100 men could look at her and perhaps they wouldn't even think she's pretty.
Basically, he's like, this bitch ain't even that fine, and she's hurting me so bad. He said 100 men could look at her and they couldn't even think she's pretty, but she's my little ugly negress that I love, and she did me so wrong. He don't know where to go with this shit. His heart is hurting, his dick is hurting. He wants to maintain white supremacy. Poor Donald Sterling.
But
hold on, I gotta play that again. This motherfucker is hilarious.
She was something special.
Hold on.
And this is all
said, which
she released it. She never said what you just said. You know,
she never directly asked for money.
Pardon me?
She never directly asked for money or extorted money.
You know, if I really can be honest, this girl, 100 men could look at her and perhaps they wouldn't even think she's pretty. But she was something special. And the point that I'm making is, she was a woman who really never asked for anything.
All right, that's enough of this guy. But Donald Sterling, this dude is a hot mess. He's hilarious. Donald Sterling is hilarious, and bless his heart. Poor, he's just racist to the point the dude can't even control himself. And they need to give him more interviews. Let him talk. Let him get it out of his system. Let this motherfucker keep talking. But I digress. Shout out to brother Magic Johnson. Shout out to Magic for being thorough and taking the high road. Because Magic is like, look, I'm Bennett. I ain't in it. You know, I pray for Donald Sterling. But, you know, I don't want my name to be in this bullshit. But I digress. Now, let's get into this whole... Let's get into the Jay-Z, Solange, Beyonce thing. Now, for those who don't know, let me put on some Jay-Z music shit. Let me put on some Jay-Z music. while I'm talking about Jigga. Shout out to Jigga, man. You know, Jay-Z did the right thing. For those who don't know, Jay-Z and Beyonce and Solange, they were at this event in New York. And it's all on TMZ and all this stuff. They get into this elevator. You can't hear the audio, but you see Solange attacking Jay-Z. She just straight out attacked him. Started fighting him, and she was spitting at him, and she was kicking him a few times. I mean, she just went wild on dude. She just went straight up wild on dude. So now a lot of people have a whole bunch of speculation as to what happened. Some people were saying, well, Jay-Z probably was abusive to Beyonce. Just really silly nigga shit like that, which I don't even believe. They're trying to put it on Jay-Z. What did he do to cause her to do that? Let me say this. There's nothing to justify her wilding out on Jay like that in that elevator. Nothing justifies that. Nothing justifies that, people. Let's be very real. She got on heels, kicking the dude all in the groin and shit. You don't do that. And Jay-Z was real cool. He did not lay hands on her. He was real cool about it. So it ain't about what he said, because if they're there all together, they're kicking it that night. Everything was good earlier that night. He didn't abuse Beyonce that night or whatever. So it was something that was said. Maybe, who knows what it was? Maybe he was like, hey, you need to stop drinking. Maybe she was drunk. Looked like she was on something to wild out like that. But let's look at the bigger context here. Let's look at the real big picture here, because I don't give a damn what was said, because what was said is irrelevant. Because her wilding out like that had nothing to do with what went on that night. That was some deep-seated shit going on to make her wild out like that. That was some real deep-rooted, deep-seated anger that was already bubbling to make that woman wild out in that elevator at that upscale event like that. There was something that was already there in that woman's heart to make you do all that. You kicking and spitting and all that bullshit. You know what was, this is my conjecture on this. Solange was trying to provoke Jay-Z to hit her. Looking at that tape, she was going out of her way to provoke Jay-Z to hit her. She wanted Jay-Z to retaliate on her. See, when women start spitting on dudes, because that's the ultimate form of disrespect, they want you to retaliate. They want you to lay hands on them. Because what Solange was trying to do looks like she was trying to sabotage Jay. Because she knows that the spotlight is on Jay like that. And the minute Jay laid a finger on her, Solange would have been playing the victim role overnight. Immediately, the minute Jay laid a finger on her, she would have played the victim role. She would have played that victim hustle. See, Solange don't really have anything to lose. I mean, look at this whole fiasco. What has Solange lost? No reputation. This is the most publicity Solange has ever gotten in her career. I'm not saying that to be facetious, but nobody talks about Solange like this. This is the most publicity this woman has ever gotten in her career. So Solange had nothing to lose and everything to gain. This is why you got to be very careful about the people you hang around and watch their desires. Because when they have certain desires that are not being met and they see that you shine and you bubbling, that creates resentment, man. Because a lot of people, they'll do that. They'll provoke you to do something, and then when you do it, you retaliate against them. They start playing that victim role. On the Housewives of Atlanta, the Kenya did that. Kenya Moore was provoking Portia on the Housewives of Atlanta reunion. Kenya Moore kept putting these objects in the woman's face and kept taunting her, and then Portia got up and kind of dragged her by her weave. Kenya jumped up. Oh no, I'm calling the police. She didn't call the police. She didn't press charges. She's going around playing the whole victim hustle. Nobody should lay their hands on me. That whole victim hustle, you provoke people to retaliate. That's a cool little hustle that a lot of basic ass, no talent chicks like to get into. Because Kenya don't really have no talent to fall back on. So that victim hustle is a cool little hustle. Just like Evelyn Lozada. She was one of those provoking chicks. You provoke people to do something to you and then play that victim hustle. when Evelyn and Chad Ochocinco got into their altercation, I said, look, this woman is about to go on the whole domestic violence route. And sure enough, that's exactly what she did. She started going around being an advocate for domestic violence. That's the hustle. They provoke certain situations, and then they become advocates for domestic violence because it's an attention hustle. And even look at Solange. Let's just be real. Solange wanted Jay to hit her because if Jay retaliated just a little bit, Solange would be on Oprah Tonight crying, talking about how she's a domestic abuse survivor. And Jay-Z's career would have been sabotaged. That's what she was trying to do. Because you know what? With Solange, and this is my conjecture, but just look at the whole picture here. It's going around saying I'm a survivor of domestic abuse, I'm an advocate for domestic violence. That's better than saying I'm a failed singer. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but you got to look. With Solange, you're known for really being secondary. She's just playing this whole secondary role, and nobody wants to do that. When you play the secondary role, you act out for attention. That's why a lot of people were saying she had a kid at a very young age as a way to get attention. Because your sister is shining, your sister she got it popping, your sister has a successful career, everything she touches is hot. Solange can't get her records to pop off. Your sister has a great marriage, successful marriage. Solange is a single parent. Even when Beyonce had a baby, everybody knows Beyonce's baby's name, Blue Ivy. Y'all don't know Solange's little boy's name unless you Google it or unless you're a diehard fan of Beyonce. But most of y'all do not know that little boy's name. And Solange had her son first. Now, I'm not saying that to disparage the young man, but I'm just saying you got your sister just taking all of your shine on every single angle. Because the truth be told, when you look at that tape, when I'm looking at that, all of those kicks and punches and spitting and all that shit she was doing to Jay, you know what that was about? That was really for Beyonce. Let me say that again. All of that was really for Beyonce. That was a by proxy insult and diss to Beyonce. Now, you can't just outright attack your sister and go in on your sister. You can't do that. A lot of times people will channel that to something else. They'll take out the anger they have on one person or one thing and put it on somebody else. By proxy. But that was really about Beyonce. Think about it, family. Ladies, if you're married and your friend or your sister comes over and starts kicking and spitting on your husband, do you know how fucking disrespectful that is to you? Just think about that. How disrespectful is that to Beyonce? You kicking and spitting on this woman's husband. Now, some people were looking at the tape saying, well, Beyonce didn't do anything. What was she going to do? Beyonce has something to lose. This woman is a multi-millionaire. Beyonce she's trying her best not to get into that ratchet mix because she knows that she's being watched. They know that they're being watched. All eyes are on them, so they can't get in the mix. So I understand where Beyonce was coming from. Now, we don't know what was said in the elevator. Now, as far as Beyonce getting physical, no. She didn't try to jump into it on a physical level because you got all these cameras right downstairs that's about to flash on you the minute you step out the elevator, so you want to have your look together. You ain't trying to get up in the mix because of your ratchet sister who ain't got shit to lose. That was real disrespectful of Solange to do that to her sister. Because Beyonce tried to be as chill as possible. Because, look, Solange, that's a play for attention. Because what she was doing looked like she was trying to sabotage not just Jay, but she was trying to sabotage Beyonce. She was trying to sabotage them so they can bring them down to her level. She knows that the block is hot for them. When you're a black person and you got some paper, you're on top, people in the dominant society, they look for anything to try to bring you down. They look for anything to bring you down. And you see the conservative news shows and all these people already taking shots at Beyonce and Jay-Z, not just the conservative circles, but you have the Bill O'Reillys and all these people talking about how Beyonce is a bad role model for women. Jay-Z had a necklace the other week where he had like a sign on it, and they were saying that it was like part of a black hate group that hate white people, the 5%ers. They're trying to tie Jay into the 5%ers based on a necklace he had. So the block is hot for them. They'll look for any little thing to use to throw them under the bus. And Solange know this. Hell, there was some feminist groups calling Beyonce a damn terrorist not too long ago. Last week, as a matter of fact, Bell Hooks and those dudes calling Beyonce a terrorist. So you have all of these groups that are put out there to try to look for little chinks to kind of bring our brothers and sisters down. So the block is hot for them when you sitting on that type of paper. They'll look for that. So Beyonce and Jay, they got to be on their P's and Q's, and Solange knows this. For her to show out and wild out at an upscale event like that, they're all out in public, paparazzi all over the place, and you spazzing out in public was a fucked up foul move, and Solange knew what she was doing. All this shit about her being bipolar, I'm cool, that's bullshit. She was trying to get Jay in a Chris Brown situation. That's what Rihanna did to Chris. She provoked him, and Rihanna said this out of her own mouth. Yeah, I provoked him. Chris Brown is locked down right now based on that shit 5 years ago. They love that. They love to see a brother get into a situation like that. And if they can get a Negro bed wench to do it, all the better. So now they can remove the guilt from doing it. So now they don't seem racist when they do it. They would have loved to label Jay as a woman beater and all. They would have loved that. They would have loved it. They would have ran with that. Even though if he protected himself, they would have said, oh, no, fuck all that. Woman beater. Solange knew that. Don't think she didn't know that. I ain't buying all that old bipolar bullshit. I'm not buying none of it. She was trying to sabotage that dude's career. Even on a subconscious level, she was trying to sabotage that dude's career. So they need to put her ass at arm's length. Don't let Solange babysit Blue Ivy. None of that shit. Beyonce, don't let Solange have your old weave tracks that you ain't wearing no more. Nothing. Keep her ass at arm's length. Because shit, Jay-Z and Beyonce, they're two of the most influential artists that we have in the industry right now. So trying to fight them or fight Jay in public, that's such a bad look. And again, Beyonce can't get in the mix like that because now this is making the block hot for her. This is fucking up her money. Because now if you have a company like, L'Oreal or whatever, or CoverGirl trying to give Beyonce another big check, they're going to be in a boardroom right now having meetings like, hey, should we get Beyonce for the next ad campaign? I mean, I don't want our brand. We don't want our brand to be associated with ratchetness. She's all in elevators and there's fights and all that. Should we write this $50 million check for Beyonce? I mean, is that a good look for us? Little Solange's ass is fucking up people's money with all that ratchet behavior. So she don't get a pass from me. I'm looking at it from the big picture. I look at it from the big perspective. There's no reason that woman should have wilded out like that at that party, at that event. That was real foul. They need to leave her ass alone. If I was Jay, I wouldn't let her ass up in my house. And I know that's Beyonce's sister or whatever, but sometimes you got to keep your family at arm's length if they're trying to throw salt on your career and sabotage your shit because they can't get it popping. That was real foul of Solange for doing that nigger shit. That was nigger shit. You do shit like that at a juke joint somewhere or at a club down in Memphis in the hood. You do some shit like that there. Don't be kicking no motherfucking elevator and paparazzis all out here at a black tie event, all these upscale people, and you showing the fuck out because somebody may have said something you didn't like. There's nothing that justified that. Nothing. I don't give a fuck what was said. That was unwarranted. That was foul. That's fucking up people's money. Anyway, I digress, ladies and gentlemen. That's been today's episode of the Tariq Elite Radio Show. Hidden Colors 3, June 26th. You don't want to miss it, family. Check out the trailer at you can check out the trailer at hiddencolorsfilm.com. Go to hiddencolorsfilm.com to check out the trailer for Hidden Colors 3. And don't forget to go to tariqelite.com to get that funky fresh fly gear, ladies and gentlemen. And I will chop up game with you guys on Ustream this Sunday. Holla.